Hello, Ross. Britain's Hidden History. Do these little bite-sized chunks, bits of give you an idea what the debate's all about. Learn about history, you know, just not all the insy-bitty details, but I'm trying to express it in plain English in a way that will give you an idea, a flavour of what some of these arguments about. And when people mention Bede, who was he, and how does it affect what we're talking about, okay? I know when I did the Roath Park ones, the birds in the background got a little bit noisy. These are my little chooks. You're going to be quiet, aren't you? See? Good as gold, alright? Right, so we're coming on to, we talked about who Bede was, where he came from, how he relied on reports, and also he was a churchman. When we say churchman, I mean the Roman-style church. And this war between the Roman church and the British church, which has going on for hundreds of years, where it still goes on in many ways. It still continues like that. So, moving on then, so what... and that's where we get interesting now, you see, because what Wilson Blackett do is show you can read what he doesn't cover is rather important in this as well. So first of all, Bede refers to before the Romans, 409. He fails to record the fact that the British actually attacked and captured Gaul in 387. Well, you have to remember, Bede was anti-British. He hated the British. He hated their religion, he hated their culture, he hated everything about them, and we're not getting a good impartial history here. It's not venerable at all. It's very partisan. Alright, so then we talk about the Battle of Bede and the Pelagian heresy, which I touched on the last one. Then we got the obligatory account of St. Germanus leading the British to the Alleluia victory over the Saxons and Picts. So fair enough, that does get in. Well, let's see. This story should be placed together with the accumulated mass of lies and exaggerations which form the bulk of the lives of the saints of the Dark Ages. And the main theme of history proper, then he goes back to real history. Now, we go through, and this is the interesting part that Wilson and Blackett latch onto. Bede follows Gildas in stating that there was a period of peace, prosperity and plenty in Britain following the Battle of Bede. Now, he implies, or he tells us, this applied to the Angles and Saxons as well as the Britons. So, the allegation made by Gildas that the new younger generation grew up in ignorance of the realities of the former disasters of war, and that this generation disregarded the essential strengths. There's a good lesson for today here, by the way, modern world. The essential strengths of leaders we're talking about, and they are truth, justice, law and moderation. Without those, again, the nation's Britain was plunged into disaster. This all very well, but the main theme of Gildas' complaint, because there was disunity, they started falling out amongst themselves, and this is where the problems come. Civil uproar will weaken the state's ability to defeat foreign invaders. It was the struggle which Bede deplored. So tries to blame everything on the British, and here comes one of his big anti-British comments. Quotes, to the other, I should listen to a Geordie accent, he's from Jarrow, I'll try my best. To the other abominable crimes which their own historian Gildas mournfully records, they added a complete failure to teach Christianity to the taxed Saxons who now lived with them. Close quotes. Wilson Blackett say, this is a piece of pious nonsense, as not only is it completely untrue, it ignores the fact that when the British had made peace treaties and conferences with the Saxons, it always ended up in complete disaster and treachery and slaughters. So you can read this book, like I said, it's in Wilson and Blackett's King Arthur, Oakland, Morgan and Gwent. And what he does go through then is to show how the British were very strongly promoting Christianity. You've got St. Ninian going all the way up to Scotland and converting the Picts. You got Patrick, born and trained in South Wales, going off to convert the Irish, and various other places. This was the hotbed of Christianity. The problem was twofold. One, they were not promoting the message of the Roman Church, they were promoting the original Christianity, before the rules and tithes and the payments you have to make, for all that was added on, the original message, a doctrinal, apostolic type of Christianity. And of course the second problem was who were the who were the Mercians? Who were they? It's the Mercians they're referring to. So what we have there, the summary to this section, is there's a massive gap where there's no discussion of any... there's a big gap where nothing's really covered. Well, the point is, this is the period that is supposed to have been this slow, gradual, grinding Anglo-Saxon conquering of Britain. But there's no record of it. It doesn't happen. There's two ways this could be the case. One, you'll find with Bede's records, he very rarely, if ever, will record anything of a defeat. So it could be that just the Anglo-Saxons lost every battle during that period, so they didn't record anything. Then how do they make a conquest? Or, Wilson and Blackett explain, is the fact that a third party came in, and these were the Mercians. And the Mercians were not kindred spirits of the Angles or the Saxons. And they fought their way through, came up through Wales, smashed their way through, and started this kingdom in the West Midlands. You still got Mercian police and things like that today. So this is the big things. So this divide between the Roman Church that he was trying to promote in England and the British Church remained. So you got things like then a synod of, I think actually, we'll stop that there and we'll put this in the next one, alright? For this one, we'll remember the period when the Anglo-Saxon invasion was supposed to be taking place, not recorded. So either the British were knocking 6 bells out of them, or they weren't fighting each other, and they were enjoying this period of peace. So what happened to spoil that? What happened in the 570s, right about that period, where suddenly all that disappeared, and there seems to be a new invader in town, and new battles. And this is the next important story, which Bede has misunderstood, and it's been misunderstood ever since. Until the next one, Hedwig.